forward. You see the breakdown there, Brest.
Yeah, I'm going to go right to the bottom on this. The Lakers assists, only 2. Only 15 as a team. Allie James, that's her fewest assist in the game since December 19th, 2022.
Wow.
In Phoenix. You're talking a good 2.5 years since the offense has had so few helpers, so to speak. And part of it is, you know, they missed a lot of shots. So you're not going to get a lot of assists if you shoot 39% for the game. But still, in a season where you're used to seeing the Lakers get 30 assists on any given night, sometimes a few over, sometimes a few under, to come out with 15 in the playoff opener, that's a tough one to swallow.
We're going to head back down to Crypto.com Arena. LeBron is speaking with Mike in the media.
LeBron, you've been through more game ones than anybody. What after a game like this, you know, where it's a big score line at home, what's the kind of the proper way to try and respond from that mentally, physically, and all of it?
Well, obviously, we got to do a better job of controlling the controllables, and I don't think we did a good enough job after the first quarter. You know, once, you know, they blitzed us in that second quarter, 38-20. But, you know, giving up 21 threes, giving up 20-plus fast break points, second chance points, those are some of the things that we can control. You know, obviously the three-point shooting, we know they have a lot of lasers. They have a lot of guys that can shoot from the perimeter. So we got to do a better job of closing the bodies and getting out on shooters. So, you know, we'll get back in the film room tomorrow, look at the things that we did well, some of the things that we didn't do so well, and continue the game plan for game 2. We have a couple of days to prepare for it.
LeBron, both AR and JJ mentioned that they felt like one of the factors tonight was the physicality being something that maybe caught you guys early on in the game. Were there any things that you saw that gave you belief that you figured out how to counter that as the game went on that you can take into game 2?
Well, definitely. I mean, no, you know, when you play in a Minnesota team, they're going to be physical. That's what they bring to the table. So, you know, maybe it took us one playoff game to now get a feel for it and know what the type of intensity, the type of physicality that's going to be brought to the game, but that's just the way they play. So we should be more than prepared for that on Tuesday night.
LeBron, obviously you guys are going to meet game 2 with a sense of urgency, but what's sort of the right approach to a game 2 when you're down 0-1 in terms of still being calm and understanding kind of the big picture of things while also knowing that it's obviously an incredibly important game?
No, we understand that. I mean, you know, they took home court from us tonight, you know, as far as the series, but, you know, we have an opportunity to even the series out on Tuesday, and we have to play a much better game than we did today. Like I said, we have to control the controllables, and if we do that, we're going to give ourselves a much better chance to win than we did tonight.
You mentioned one of the first answers there, the Timberwolves 20-plus fast break points is a key factor. How much of that did you see as a result of just you guys missing, you know, shots close to the rim and near the rim and them running out just from there?
No, we did a great job later on in the, you know, I mean, throughout the whole season, we did a great job of not allowing teams to get, you know, fast break point after fast break point after fast break point. I mean, like I said, those guys are 10 for 15 and 25 points on the fast break. You know, we already know offensively how dangerous they are, you know, so when you're giving teams an opportunity to get those easy points, you know, it's going to be hard to make that up. I mean, we only had 6 ourselves, so that we got outscored by 19 in that race. So, you know, those are things that we control by getting back, setting our defense, making them score against our half-court defense.
LeBron, you guys closed the third on a 17-6 run and then carried that over into the first few minutes of the fourth. What did you see during that stretch of like 6-7 minutes that you feel like you could take in a game?
We just met the intensity, what they were bringing to the table. We met the physicality with physicality, and started to get up into them. You know, allowed us to get some turnovers, allowed us to get some extra possessions, and it allowed us to get back into the game. So, like I said, you know, sometimes it takes a quarter, 2 quarters, a full game to get used to playoff basketball once again. So it shouldn't be no surprise on Tuesday.
LeBron, to your right, when you talk about controlling the controllables in the second and third quarter, what comes to mind at those times?
Offensive rebounds, giving up open shots to lasers, you know, not being in the right position. You know, so it was a lot of factors that you know, allowed them to build that big lead up to 27.
LeBron, Minnesota was able to kind of penetrate, drive and kick. They converted a lot of those corner threes and things of that nature. How much of that was just a team getting hot and hitting their shots, and how much of that is part of the controllables and things that you can prevent?
We're going to look at the film and break it down. There's some that was just great plays by them. We're all NBA players. We know how to make plays. Some of the things we could have control, but we watch the film and see ways we could be better with our rotations going into game 2.
Sorry. LeBron, the Timberwolves scored 18 points off turnovers compared just to 9 by the Lakers. How do you think the team can do a better job managing that in the upcoming games?
Well, obviously, taking care of the ball versus a team like this is very important. But anytime you're in the postseason, you got to take care of the ball, and if you turn the ball over, you got to try your best to get back, in transition and not allow them to get points. Like you said, they had 18 points off our 13 turnovers, and we only had 9 off their 10. So we got to do a much better job of trying to turn them over, and at the same time, do a better job of protecting the ball, and not having as many turnovers for us, especially at home. All right, appreciate it.
Look at LeBron's night by quarter scoring. How about this? He finished with 19. The 0 first quarter points is the first.
If you're going to live with and allow, do you think that game plan had anything to do with their great shooting night from the outside tonight?
No, I think, to start that third quarter, I think they made 3 or 4 in a row, basically all uncontested, and regardless of what the game plan is, you don't want to give up those. We play in the NBA, and regardless of, what percentage you shoot, if you have a practice shot, you have an opportunity to make it. So, like I said, we'll watch the film and get better.
Austin, you had a quiet first half by your standards, and then you started to look more comfortable, I'd say, in the third quarter. Like, what did you feel like shifted in the second half for you, and then how would you assess the first half?
Bad. Didn't play very well, and then got a couple shots to go in the third quarter, but through the whole midst of the game, I have to be better. I have to help us control the game better, and like I said, I'll watch the film and get better.
Austin, when you guys have been at your best this year, it hasn't really been a team that's overreacted to things. Like Dave mentioned, like game plan threes. If the game plan calls for you to do one thing and the other team makes a shot, you guys have generally stuck with it. I'm curious, just kind of what was the mood in the locker room post-game between like a sense of urgency versus calm after one game in a playoff series when you have to win 4 to advance?
I think that kind of was the mood was you don't win or lose it, through one game. We have an opportunity. I think we play Tuesday, right? To even up the series on our home court, and then go compete for 2 games on their home court. So you never lose the game after the first game, second game, third game. To be honest, you got to get beat 4 times, or you got to win 4 times. So that's the outlook. We know we didn't play very well. We didn't play to our standards, and we'll get better.
14 of Austin's 16 points there in the third quarter. You just heard him say he has to be better. He'll watch the film. He will be better. Whether it was what they were doing to him and forcing him to do defensively,